Getting ready for a government exam? Then you know exactly what I'm talking about. The Indian Constitution can feel like this massive, impossible mountain to climb. But what if I told you there's a smarter way to study? What if you could just focus on the articles that pop up again and again? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's crack the code.
Yeah, it's totally normal to feel that way. I mean, with hundreds of articles, it's so easy to get lost and just not know where to even begin. Your syllabus is huge, and let's be real, every single minute of your study time is precious.
And that's where we come in. We've gone through tons of past papers, we've looked at the data, and we've built a kind of cheat sheet for you. Think of this as your high-yield, super-focused study guide. Just the absolute essentials, the greatest hits that you're most likely to see on your exam.
All right, let's kick things off with the heavy hitters. These are the articles that you absolutely, positively have to know inside and out. Seriously, consider these non-negotiables. This is the foundation of everything.
First up, the big one, Article 14. This is the bedrock of our fundamental rights. It's what guarantees equality before the law for every single person. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this is, without a doubt, the most tested article across pretty much every government exam in the country. If you remember nothing else, remember this one.
Next, we've got Article 19. Now, examiners love this one, especially for multiple choice questions, because they can really test you on the specifics of the 6 freedoms it guarantees. You know, freedom of speech, assembly, association, and all that. You've got to know each and every one.
And then there's Article 21. Now, the key thing to get here is that it's not just about the literal right to life. The Supreme Court has stretched its meaning over the years, and a lot of questions will try to catch you out on these expanded interpretations, like the right to privacy or the right to livelihood. You've probably heard this famous phrase before, right? Any idea which article it's about? Well, it refers to Article 32, the right to constitutional remedies. This is the one that gives you the power to go straight to the Supreme Court if your rights are violated. It's basically the article that gives all the other rights their teeth. And finishing up this top-tier section, we have the dynamic duo, Articles 15 and 16. These two are the absolute cornerstones of social equality in India. Article 15 says no discrimination, plain and simple, while Article 16 makes sure there's a level playing field for government jobs. You'll see these a lot, especially in SSC and state PSC exams. Okay, you've got the must-knows locked in. Awesome. Now let's build on that foundation with our next set of high-frequency articles. Think of these as the core protections that really flesh out your fundamental rights. Think of Articles 12 and 13 as setting the rules of the game. Article 12 answers the question, who do my fundamental rights actually apply to? It defines the state. And Article 13? That gives the courts the superpower of judicial review, letting them strike down any law that messes with your rights. Pretty important, right?
Next up is Article 17. This one's super straightforward. It abolishes untouchability in all its forms, period. And because it's so direct, the questions on it are usually simple and factual. This is what we call an easy mark, so don't miss out on it.
Here, we're going to group 2 articles together because they're both about the right against exploitation. So, Article 23 bans nasty stuff like human trafficking and forced labor, sometimes called bigar. Then, Article 24 gets specific about prohibiting child labor in dangerous jobs. And a little pro tip, pay very close attention to the age limits mentioned in Article 24. They are a huge favorite for MCQs.
And to round out this section, we have Article 21A, the right to education. This one is so important, and the one crucial detail you absolutely have to burn into your memory for the exam is the age group it applies to, 6 to 14 years. That number comes up all the time.
All right, we're shifting gears a bit. We've talked a lot about individual rights, but now let's zoom out and look at the actual machinery of the state. These are the articles that show up in the polity and governance sections, the ones that are all about how the country is actually run.
First up in this section is a hot topic, Article 44, on the Uniform Civil Code. Now, remember, it's a directive principle, so you can't go to court to enforce it, but it's a constant subject of national debate. So you should definitely be ready for questions that connect this article to what's happening in the news right now. What's with this number, 11? What does it mean? Well, it's the total number of fundamental duties listed under Article 51A. It's a simple, direct fact, and for some reason, examiners love asking it. So just remember the number, 11. It's an easy point waiting for you. Okay, let's clear up something that trips up a lot of students, the pardoning powers. What's the difference between the president's power in Article 72 and the governor's in Article 161? Well, the main takeaway is that the president's powers are much broader. Crucially, only the president can pardon a death sentence. That's the key difference to remember. Now let's look at the very blueprint of our country. Article 1 defines India as a union of states. In that specific wording, union is important. Then you have Article 3, which gives Parliament the power to create new states or just redraw the map. These articles often become relevant whenever a state reorganization hits the headlines. Last but definitely not least, we have Article 368. This is the big one that gives Parliament the power to amend the Constitution itself. But it's not an unlimited power, and that's where the famous basic structure doctrine comes in. Understanding this article is just fundamental to understanding our entire constitutional law.
So there you have it. We've gone through the most important articles. But look, just having the information isn't enough, right? Information without a strategy is just noise. So let's wrap this all up with a simple, actionable game plan for your studies.
It's really just a three-step process. First, you've got to master that first section, the must-remembers. Make them second nature. Then, connect the core protections from Section 2 to build a deeper understanding. And finally, use those governance articles to see how it all fits together in the big picture of how India works.
So, we've given you the what. We've laid out the roadmap pointing to the most important articles you need to study. The ball is officially in your court now. So the real question is, how are you going to take this knowledge and turn it into exam success? What's your plan to make these articles unforgettable? Go on, get to it, and good luck.